Welcome in to Seahawks Today by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you for the second time today. Thanks for spending your Monday evening with us as we have the latest Seattle Seahawks news and rumors with an update to the Seahawks Free Agency tracker. We will get to it in just a few moments from right now with some big updates regarding your Seattle Seahawks. Before we get to that, though, folks, you got to make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Look, we are bringing you two videos. Why? Because there's so much going on. I know the Seahawks haven't made any major moves yet, but folks, there's been moves made around them and have affected them, and we're here to break it all down for you. When the Seahawks do something, you know, we're going to be on top of it. We've worked 12-plus hours here in the office today. Why? Because we're built different. We love the Seattle Seahawks here on Seahawks Today. So do me a favor. Subscribe to the channel for free for the latest happenings on your favorite team. Turn on notifications so you never miss a moment. YouTube.com/Seahawks TV. Let's start today with Cody Barton. Barton, former Seahawk now. Sounds still kind of weird to say, to be honest, as he's moving on to the Washington Commanders on a one-year deal. The news was broken this afternoon by Tom Pelissero of the NFL Network, stating the Commanders are signing former Seahawks linebacker Cody Barton to a one-year deal, fully guaranteed per source. Now, at the time of this recording, we don't know the exact contract details just yet, but can't imagine it's too much money. But here's the deal. The Seahawks now have to find not one, but two starting linebackers inside for this Seahawks team. And you may be wondering, well, why not just one with Cody Barton gone? Well, remember, Jordan Brooks with that ACL injury, his progress, the last we heard on the recovery, wasn't going so great. So the Seahawks have to anticipate that Jordan Brooks might not be available when the season starts. So you have to prepare for the worst and have a couple of different options. Now, the good news for the Seattle Seahawks, as far as their future goes and trying to find other options, is that they have plenty to choose from. And as far as one potential starter goes at the inside linebacker position, I know a guy. And today, you may not have noticed, but the Seahawks made significant progress to potentially be able to sign this one guy. We'll talk about that in just a second. Before we do, give me your one-word reaction to Cody Barton going to the Washington Commanders. What do you think about him leaving the Seahawks and going to the nation's capital? This is our pinned comment today. Let me know in the comment section below what you think of this move for Cody Barton to leave Seattle. Give me one word to describe it in the comment section below. So that one guy you may have guessed, Bobby Wagner. And the report from ESPN's Ed Warner this afternoon said the Cowboys have contacted linebacker Bobby Wagner about their interest in signing him for the second time in as many years. Seahawks interested too. Source tells me Wagner decision not imminent as both seek to determine his current value. So they're talking. Interest there. We told you earlier in our first video today about John Schneider and Pete Carrol saying that they've had positive discussions, awesome conversations to be exact, with Bobby Wagner. And so there's the conversations there. And as I was reading through the comments over the last few days, since Bobby Wagner was going to move on from the Los Angeles Rams, the number one thing that I encountered from you Seahawk fans was, well, they don't have the money to do this. Not anymore. The effective Seahawk cap space now that the move today on Shelby Harris was made, more on that in just a second, that puts the Seahawks at about $19 million in effective cap space. Let me break this down for you. The Seahawks began the day with around $20 million in cap space, $10 million in effective cap space, which is for free agents and does not factor in. The effective cap space doesn't count towards what you have to use towards your future players in your top 51 on the roster, okay? That's just money to spend potentially on free agents. Well, now with the move on Shelby Harris, your effective cap space is up to $19 million. And Spotrac, we told you earlier in the day says Bobby Wagner has a value just around $9 million. So the money is not the issue anymore. If the Seahawks want Bobby Wagner, the money is there to make it happen. Simple as that. So, you tell me, will the Seahawks sign Bobby Wagner? Now that we know they have the money to make the move, will they do it? Type Y for yes, in for no. Will the Seahawks sign Bobby Wagner or not? Now, it is worth noting that just because they have the money doesn't mean they can get him. Cowboys are interested. I'm sure some other teams are as well. But the money is not the issue at hand now. They have it. Will they spend it? Will they sign Bobby Wagner? Let me know Y for yes, in for no in the comments section below. In other Seahawk news, the Seahawks ended up cutting Shelby Harris today. Remember, he was brought in the Russell Wilson trade a year ago. And with this cut, the Seahawks now save $8.9 million against the cap. The news coming from Mike Garafolo of the NFL Network. First thing this morning, the Seahawks plan to release defensive lineman Shelby Harris, sources say. Seattle has explored possible trades, but hasn't found a taker yet for the 9-year veteran who played well last season. Harris, who was part of the Russell Wilson deal, was set to make $9 million this upcoming season. Now, the truth of the matter is, when it comes to Shelby Harris, I know that we were all excited when the trade was made last year, when Shelby Harris was a part of that trade package. But in all honesty, Shelby Harris kind of underperformed this year for Seattle. The expectation was not the reality for Shelby Harris of what he brought to the table this year. It just wasn't what he was lived up to be. I mean, Shelby Harris finished the 2022 campaign with just 2 sacks, 44 tackles, 5 tackles for loss. And think about this, too. What have we reiterated time and time again on this program with the struggles of the Seattle Seahawks this past season was the run defense. Guys like Josh Jacobs and company ran all over the Seahawks, in particular dominated up front. And Shelby Harris, let's put it simply, he got worked, right? Now, while there might be some Shelby Harris truthers out there, and I understand if you're one of those people, here's the silver lining in all this. We've heard more and more when it comes to the draft next month about these quarterbacks moving on up. And with Carolina moving up to number 1, that pretty much guarantees a QB is going to be taken 1. That's good news for the Seahawks because that means guys like Jalen Carter, Will Anderson, some of these high-profile defensive players are more than likely to slip. Do not forget about Jalen Carter. The likelihood with the stuff going on with the police in Georgia, and then this whole ordeal with the emphasis on quarterbacks has brought Carter's stock down, or at least the likelihood of him falling to 5 is more than likely than it's ever been. Don't forget about Jalen Carter. If Shelby Harris is gone and he's replaced with Jalen Carter, I'll take that every time. Okay? Don't forget about the big fella Jalen Carter. So with that being said, I know it's free agency. You might be bored because the Seahawks haven't made a big-time move. But remember the priority for your Seattle Seahawks is not winning in March. It's winning in January and February. That's what the Seahawks do. Jalen Carter, that's a move that you do in April that helps you win in January and February. I like that idea. Should the Seahawks draft Jalen Carter? If he's there, you can't say no. What do you think? Type D for draft, type P for pass. Let me know in the comments section. You can also interact with me on social media. Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Tyler Jones Live. We are all over covering this free agency period. We're going to do a special live show on Wednesday afternoon. If the Seahawks make a big signing, like Bobby Wagner or somebody like that, you know we're going to cover it here on the channel. We'll go live as quickly as we can. Subscribe now. Follow me on social media. Big week ahead. Stay tuned. We got you covered here on Seahawks Today. We'll see you next time.